What's going on, everybody? This your man Lucky. I'm back with another one. I hope everybody's doing good. Look, in this video right here, I'm going to be talking about boundaries. Listen, I can go on and on and on about boundaries, so I'm going to make this as quick as possible, okay? First and foremost, let me talk about what a boundary is, okay? Basically, a boundary is basically like a standard that you set, okay? The standard that you set, you are setting for yourself. You must understand that. You are setting this boundary for yourself, not for anyone else. One of the things that people get kind of mixed up when it comes to boundaries is that people feel as though when they're putting boundaries in place or like a boundary is to control someone else. And that's not what a boundary is. A boundary is for yourself. You're setting a boundary for yourself based on your comfort level as to the type of behavior that you will accept from others. Understand, you cannot control what someone else does. You cannot control what someone else does. However, you can accept or not accept their behavior. That's what a boundary is. It's about you not accepting unacceptable behavior. That's like the easiest way I can put it, right? If you're not comfortable with something, you have to let it be known, okay? And I'm gonna tell you something, right? A lot of people do not put boundaries in place. They do not set boundaries simply for like a fear of rejection, in my opinion, a fear of rejection, right? So I'm gonna give you an example, right? And guys, we do this all the time, right? You know, we're dating a young lady, you know, we you know, you really like her, you feeling her, whatever the case may be, right? And you know, she does little things that you don't like, right? And typically you would not accept. It's unacceptable behavior for you. It's just behavior that you don't accept. However, you've been dealing with this young lady for a short amount of time. You know, you've been investing, a little time, energy, whatever the case may be. You've been pursuing her, whatever the case may be, right? But you haven't gotten to that point yet, right? And so you'll accept unacceptable behavior because you don't want to lose out on the time and effort and whatever it is that you've been putting into this young lady, right? You understand what I'm saying, guys? Y'all know what I mean. You know what I mean? She's doing little things that any other time, you'd have, nah, I don't do that over here. But because you haven't got to the point you're trying to get to, you're like, all right, yeah, nah, it's cool. It's no problem. You sit back and accept it, right? So again, it's because of fear of rejection, because you don't want to potentially lose out, right? And so that's why a lot of times people do not set boundaries, because they don't want to lose out. You have a lot of people that are in relationships, right? And they're not happy in the relationship, right? They are totally unhappy. And they're unhappy and they have resentment towards their partner or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times that be because you're accepting unacceptable behavior. You understand what I'm saying? Like you're in a situation that you're accepting something that to you is unacceptable. You understand what I'm saying? You have to set the standard. And so that's what the boundaries are. The boundaries are the line that you draw, and you let people know, hey, no, listen, this is not acceptable, okay? Period, point blank. Like, that's just what it is. Why would you accept? And I get it. Again, fear of rejection. You got a girl, right? And that's your girl, whatever, everything's good, whatever, man. But she may talk to you some kind of way or whatever, now that's, I don't want to get into, you being weak if you accepting disrespect, whatever, and stuff like that. I'm not getting into that. But I mean, that's just really what it is, man. Your boundaries, when they're overstepping your boundaries, then you are allowing yourself to be disrespected. And if you don't check the person, it's not on them. You can't get mad at them. It's because you're accepting that behavior. A lot of times you don't even say anything. You know what I mean? But if you do say something and they continue to do what it is that they do, your fear of loss allows you to stay in that situation. And then over time, you start to build up resentment because that person is doing something that is unacceptable to you. But you still sit there and you accept it. What that does is that messes you up on the inside, because You're accepting behavior that is unacceptable. That begins to boil and just on the inside and everything, to get you all messed up and everything. You start resenting that person, but that's on you because you're allowing it. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to set boundaries, especially in relationships. You have to set boundaries in relationships, right? So guys, I'm gonna talk about different type of boundaries, right? Like the different categories of boundaries. I'm not gonna tell you exactly what boundary you should set because that's on you. Everybody's boundaries are different, but I'm gonna talk about the different categories, right? I'm going to talk about, I don't know, maybe like six different categories of boundaries, right? So the first category is physical boundaries, right? Like your physical space, your area, right? What's yours, your physical, you, right? That would be something like how close somebody stands, you know what I'm saying, to you. Like, yo, I need my 3 feet, yo, you know what I'm saying? Can you back up? Like, that would be a physical boundary, you know what I mean? How close somebody is to you, man. Also, like physical touch, right? So that could be something like, okay, like when you were younger, you had somebody, like when they see you, like an older cousin or maybe something like that, when they see you, hey man, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And they, you know what I'm saying? Like I had a cousin that was like that. You know what I'm saying? Every time he see me, he gotta punch me. You know what I mean? But he was older than me. He was kind of like a bully. You know what I mean? And I accepted it. You know what I mean? Why did I accept it? Because I didn't want to get into a fight with him. But you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like, you know what I'm saying, he could beat me. And so I just accepted it. You know what I mean? I couldn't stand it. You know what I mean? I could not stand it. You know what I mean? But I accepted it. You know what I mean? I should have set that boundary and be like, yo, man, listen, can you please not punch me every time you see me? You know what I'm saying? Can you just slap me 5 or something like that, man? Please don't punch me. But again, my fear of rejection or my fear of what would happen had I stood up for myself prevented me from standing up for myself and setting that boundary, guys. So that's an example of a physical boundary. How close somebody stands to you. Ladies, it may be a guy who every time he talks to you, he's just right up on you. Like he almost whispering in your ear or whatever. It's okay if you're not comfortable with that. You have to set that boundary. You know what I mean? Sometimes people won't set a boundary, and when they see somebody, they'll go the other way. Oh man, I don't want to talk. He gonna be all up in my face. Let me go the other way. Nah, it's okay. You can set that boundary. You know what I mean? But again, a lot of people don't set boundaries for fear of rejection. Okay, so that's just an example of physical boundary, right? So next you have like emotional or mental boundaries. Now this right here is key. This right here is very important, right? How you feel. How you feel has a lot to do with your everyday, your self-esteem, your confidence, and all of that, right? So you have to protect your mental and your emotional. You have to protect it, okay? This is a very important boundary, okay? You have to let people know where you draw the line when it comes to certain things. Your thoughts, right? One of the biggest topics of conversation that causes conflict is religion, politics, and things like that, right? So you first you have to protect your thoughts, right? And you have to set boundaries when it comes to that, right? So let's say you just have a certain stance when it comes to not even politics. Let's just say you have a stance on something, right? You just feel a certain way about something in particular. And when you're having a conversation, someone is very disrespectful about your thoughts or how you feel about a certain situation, right? And you allow that person to talk to you all kind of crazy and belittle you based on your thoughts on something, right? You have to draw that line. You have to draw that line. Don't let anybody belittle your thoughts. Don't let anybody, when it comes to your emotions, don't let anybody just kind of discard your feelings. You understand what I'm saying? And that's big in relationships. And that's how a lot of times relationships kind of, it causes turmoil in a relationship because some, your feelings are being discarded. You understand what I'm saying? And so you have to draw the line somewhere. You have to let somebody know, listen, this right here is near and dear to me. This is how I feel about this. This right here is really important. You have to let them know, because if you don't, what'll happen is over time you'll start to resent that person because they're crossing a line that they don't even know is there. See, that falls on you as the individual, because you're not putting that line there. You're not letting them know, hey, don't say that to me. I feel some type of way when you say that to me. It's okay. Let them know. Listen, nah, I don't even want to get involved in that conversation right there, or whatever the case may be. But you have to let it be known. You have to protect your emotions. You have to protect your mental. Okay, so when it comes to your thoughts, your feelings, and things of that nature, if you feel some type of way about something, you know what I mean, and you got somebody that's constantly, throwing something in your face, and they may not, and then they're not doing it on purpose. They just don't know that that is a particular boundary for you. You have to let them know. Now, listen, we're not going to talk about that. You understand what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. To give you an example, like, I don't know, let's just say you need some, you got to lose some weight or something like that, right? And or just have somebody who, they're just very insensitive. They don't know how serious your weight could be to you. They don't know how serious, it is to you, or how emotional you may get when it comes to, what I'm saying, your weight or something like that, right? And they're constantly, hey, what up, big boy? Or, what I mean? What's going on there, big boy? When you gonna get on that treadmill? And they may be saying it in a joking kind of way, but really on the inside, it's really hurting you, because you're struggling with, what I'm saying, with your weight or whatever the case may be. You have to set that boundary. You understand what I'm saying? You have to set that boundary, because I'm telling you, you're gonna be holding it in. It's gonna cause resentment. It's gonna play with your self-esteem. It's gonna do a lot of things. And at the end of the day, you're gonna have a huge struggle, and the struggle is gonna be within. The struggle is going to be within, because you are not setting that boundary. And you have to understand, when you set that boundary, when you let somebody know, hey, listen, man, we're not going to talk about that, man. Listen, I really don't want to talk about my weight. I don't feel comfortable with talking about my weight. You don't have to get all into how you feel and all that stuff. Just say, listen, man, we're not going to have that conversation. Do me a favor, man. I don't appreciate you calling me big boy, man. Don't call me big boy no more. I appreciate it. You understand what I'm saying? And they keep calling you big boy. You got to cut it off. You cannot just allow people to treat you any type of way. Don't allow it. You can't stop somebody from doing something, but what you can do is let them know that you're not going to allow it. And then if you have to cut that person off, you got to cut that person off. You understand what I'm saying? Another big thing, real quick, and I'm gonna move on to the next one. I'm gonna get out of this emotional and mental boundary, right? Another big thing is, right, you have kids, right? So you have kids, and you're raising your kids how you see fit as a parent, right? And then now your parents come along and they're overstepping what you have set in place for your kids, right? Something simple. You telling your kids, yo, you can't eat candy, no candy before dinner. And then your parents come over and they bringing cupcakes and cakes and all kind of, here, you can have all of that. What are you doing? No, they can't have all of this stuff. No, they can't have. And then they sliding, you know what I'm saying? Then when you sitting down at the dinner table, they full. They can't eat. They ain't ate their vegetables yet. You know what I'm saying? They ain't sat there and ate their okra. You know what I'm saying? Before they can get the cake, right? Because your parents then came over and they just want to spoil the grandkids, and so they then gave them chocolate cake and all kind of Hershey's, whatever, all this kind of stuff, and now they all messed up. Right? You understand? That's a boundary right there, right? And so you have to let them know, hey, listen. Nah, these are my kids. I'm gonna raise my kids how I see fit. You understand what I'm saying? And if you don't do that, again, it's gonna play on you. It's going to play on you. So you have to set, you know what I'm saying? You got to set those boundaries. Next boundary I'm gonna talk about is sexual boundaries. Okay. Sexual boundaries. You have to draw the line somewhere. You have to I'm not saying you have to draw the line somewhere. You like what you like. That's your business, right? But when you get to a point where there's something that you don't like, it's something that you're not comfortable with, then you have to let your partner know, nah, listen, I'm not comfortable with that. See, because what's going to happen is, if you're just trying to hold on to that partner, right? I guess I don't know if this is more so for the ladies, for the guy, whoever, I don't know. But if you're allowing someone to do something to you that you don't allow, like that you don't like, you're not comfortable with. Over time, when you keep letting that person do something to you that you are not comfortable with, you are going to resent that person. Okay, because you feel as though like they're violating you, right? Yo, I don't like this, but I'm allowing this person to do this. Why? Fear of rejection. You don't want to lose that girl. You don't want to lose that man, and so you're going to let them do whatever it is that they do. No, don't accept it. Okay, if you have a boundary and say, listen, we're exclusive to one another. No going on the outside doing A, B, C, and X, Y, Z. Okay. Okay, fine. You set that boundary. If they violate you, you have to do something. See, when you set a boundary and then somebody violates it and you don't act on that violation, right? The fact that they crossed that boundary, you begin to struggle with yourself because you know deep down inside you're accepting behavior that you're not comfortable with. And it plays with you on the inside. It eats you up on the inside. From the inside, it's eating you up. And it's only because you're accepting this behavior. So you can't do it. That's another boundary, sexual boundaries. So I think I touched on physical boundaries. I touched on emotional, mental boundaries. I just did sexual boundaries. So next I'm going to talk about spiritual boundaries, right? So a spiritual boundary or religious boundary would just be about people respecting your choice of religion. Period, point blank. Don't let anybody, talk to you any kind of way about your religion is this and that and blah, blah, blah. You have to draw the line. Listen, this is what I believe. That's what it is. If you don't like what it is that I believe, let's not ever discuss that again. You understand what I'm saying? Period. What you believe is what you believe. You know what I'm saying? If you have somebody that's in your corner, you have a friend or whatever, they follow one religion, you follow another, and they're constantly, talking to you some type of way, disrespecting what it is that you believe or whatever, religion or your spirituality or whatever, cut them off. Cut them off. There's no need for you to accept anything that you deem unacceptable. Period. Cut them off. It affects you. Boundaries are for you, not for the other person. It's not about you controlling what somebody else does. It's about you being comfortable with what you're willing to accept. You have to understand this. You have to understand this. This is why boundaries are so important. That's why relationships get all messed up because boundaries are not being set. You got to listen. This is where I draw the line. And you have to be able to walk away when that line is crossed. Period. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about financial. We're going to talk about material boundaries, right? So material boundaries are like boundaries on your things. Okay. Your belongings, your like finances, your resources, right? So let's just say you have a cousin that y'all are the same size and he always want to borrow your clothes, right? Okay, not a problem, man. Go ahead in my closet, man. Whatever you want to borrow, man. Borrow that shirt, whatever, right? And then when they bring it back, it's dirty, ring around the collar, coffee stains, all kind of craziness, smelling like cigarette smoke or whatever, right? And they just, oh yeah, here's your shirt back. You know what I mean? Or you happen to find the shirt in the trunk of their car or something like that. Look like they done changed the tire with your brand new white shirt. You know what I mean? And they've been changing oil or whatever, working on the engine and your brand new white shirt. You got to cross the line somewhere. You got to set the boundary. Listen, I don't mind letting you borrow my stuff, but you got to take care of my stuff. When you bring it back in the same condition that you borrowed it, plain and simple. But no, you're going to sit there and you're going to accept that. So now you got to take your shirt to the cleaners. You got to get it dry clean. You got to do this. You got to do that. Now that shirt is never the same because the stain didn't come all the way out. It don't smell the same no matter how much you washed it. But you sit back and you accept it. You know what I mean? Eventually, over time, you're going to resent that particular person and it's going to just build up and build up. Stand on your boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Material bound. When it comes to your car, you may have a cousin, let them borrow your car, right? To go to work and just go to work, come home, right? Next thing you know, they using your car. They at the club. They going here. They going out drinking with their friends. They going out on dates in your car. You got to call and borrow your car back from them. You understand what I'm saying? Nah, you got to set that boundary. Listen, you want to use my car? You go to work. You come back home. You know what I mean? And you need to, on your way coming back, you need to put some gas in there every single time. You know what I'm saying? Period, point blank. That's what it is. You set them boundaries because you just can't let people walk all over you and you just accept it. You can't control what they're going to do, but you can control what you're going to do. Period. That's just what it is. Next, Boundaries on your time. That is key because time is one thing that you cannot get back. Okay. You know, boundaries on your time is very important, right? So let's just say, guys, you're going out on a date with a young lady and you say, listen, meet me at such and such at 8 o'clock, right? And then, 8:15, 8:20, 8:30 comes around and now you get a text. Hey, I'm running a little late. I mean, you got to draw the line somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, you know what? I already left. You know what I'm saying? We were supposed to meet at 8 o'clock, man. By 8:10, you weren't there. At 7:40, you knew you was running late. You could have gave me a call. You got to set that boundary. You understand what I'm saying? Boundaries on your time. You got, what I'm saying? Somebody you work out at the gym and you're going to link up at the gym at 5, man. And then 5:15, 5:30, whatever, man, go ahead and start working out. Don't wait for them, period, point blank. You understand what I'm saying? Now they get there, oh, man, you already started working out. I'm only 30 minutes late and all that. Man, put boundaries on your time because time is the most important thing that you have because time is one thing that you cannot get back, okay, period, point blank. So I just wanted to touch on some of the, the different boundaries. I can't tell you what boundary to put in place. You know what it is that what boundary works for you. What you might not accept might not be what I don't accept. Everybody has their own. So those are the different categories. And just let me know, man, what boundaries do you guys have in place, or what boundaries do you allow? You know what I'm saying, to be kind of broken or whatever, not because you want to, just because it started off that way and then now you feel like you can't reverse the process. In my opinion, you can always reverse the process. It's going to be hard, but hey, you got to do what you got to do, right? So I'm just going to go over it, right? I talked about physical boundaries. I talked about emotional and mental boundaries. I talked about sexual boundaries. I talked about spiritual or religious boundaries, and then like financial and material boundaries, like your personal belongings, whatever, and stuff like that. And then boundaries on your time. You know what I mean? And there are more boundaries, more categories out there. You can break it down. You can you can generalize, or you can just break it down. You know what I'm saying? Get real granular with it. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. And you have to enforce boundaries, man. You don't have to be belligerent or disrespectful when you're when you're enforcing your boundaries, but you have to enforce those boundaries, period, point blank. It's not for them, it's for you. Understand that, okay? Guys, I hope y'all like the content. Let me know, man, just in the comments, man. What are some of your boundaries that y'all have in place, man? And how do you handle those boundaries when someone crosses that line, okay? I appreciate y'all. I'm going to get out of here. That'll be good. I'll catch you on the next one.